Thread 1: The Twitter Files. What you're about to read is the first installment in a series based upon thousands of internal documents obtained by sources at Twitter. The Twitter Files tell an incredible story from inside one of the world's largest and most influential social media platforms. It is a Frankensteinian tale of a human-built mechanism grown out the control of its designer. Twitter in its conception was a brilliant tool for enabling instant mass communications, making a true real-time global conversation possible for the first time. In an early conception, Twitter more than lived up to its mission statement, giving people the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers. As time progressed, however, the company was slowly forced to add those barriers. Some of the first tools for controlling speech were designed to combat the likes of spam and financial fraudsters. Slowly over time, Twitter staff and executives began to find more and more uses for these tools. Outsiders began petitioning the company to manipulate speech, first a little, then more, then constantly. By 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, "More to review from the Biden team." The reply would come back handled. So this is a proof of that statement. So this email by the Biden team, and these are the specific Twitter-like tweets made by users, and that the Twitter employees replied with the handle B. Celebrities and unknowns alike could be removed or reviewed at the behest of a political party. So here's another email detailing that I grabbed the first one under SI, defer to safety on the high-profile second one. Both parties had access to these tools. For instance, in 2020, requests from both Trump, White House, and Biden campaign were received and honored. This system wasn't balanced. It was based on contacts because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation. There were more channels, more ways to complain open to the left. So this shows contribution by party. So basically, Republicans and Democrats both give money in a form of and this statement here shows that Democrats gave 165,969, whilst the Republicans only gave a small portion, that is $451. The resulting slant in content moderation decision is visible in the documents you're about to read. However, it's also the assessment of multiple current and former high-level executives. So we just skipped 13, 14, 15. I don't know what's the reason. It's a bit fishy if you just try to skip 3 numbers at a time. The Twitter Files, Part 1: How and Why Twitter Blocked the Hunter Biden Laptop Story. On October 14, 2020, the New York Post published Biden's secret emails, an expose based on the contents of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop on a Hunter Biden story. What is relevant is the censoring of this story. It's not this the Hunter Biden story itself, it's how they censor, how the leaders of the Trust and Safety, Vijaya God, it involved Yoel Roth, the safety and trust chief. Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links and posting warnings that it may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via direct messaging the user whoever clicks this link. A tool hitherto reserved for extreme cases like child pornography. White House spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnany was locked out of her account for tweeting about the story, prompting a furious letter from Trump campaign staffer Mike Hahn, who cited, "At least pretend to care for the next 20 days. This led public policy executive Caroline Strom to send out a polite WTF query is a question. Several employees noted that there was tension between the communications policy teams and the safety trust teams. So this is Strom questioning about why they censored the story. That's the policy leader. This is what the analyst replied. Hi Caroline, thanks for reaching to us. For checking, the user was bounced by site integrity for violating our hack material policy, adding them here for further insights and guidance. So hacking was the excuse, but it shouldn't be for malicious purpose. If you want to know a fucked up about some politician, it shouldn't be. Although several sources recalled hearing about a general warning from federal law enforcement that summer about possible foreign hacks, there's no evidence that I've seen of any government involvement in the laptop story. That might have been the problem. The decision was made at the highest levels of the company, but without the knowledge of CEO Jack Dorsey, with former head of legal, policy and trust Vijaya Gad playing a key role. They just freelanced it. How one former employee characterized the decision, the excuse. But within a few hours, pretty much everyone realized that wasn't going to hold, but no one had the guts to reverse it. You can see the confusion in the following lengthy exchange, which ends up including God and and former Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. Comms official Trenton Kennedy writes, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe. So here is the communications of official questioning Yoel Rosoms. Who the hell? Crossboard at twitter.com. So it truly breaks a perspective that everyone was united in this censoring. The bureaucracy, the communications, the policy teams, the safety and trust teams, they were all struggling with this. By this point, everyone knew this was fucked, said one former employee, but the response was essentially to err on the side of continuing to err. Make a mistake, that's what err means. Yoel Roth, the policy basis is hacked material. Though, as discussed, this is an emerging situation where the fuck with the remains unclear, given the severe risks here and lessons of 2016 were erring on the side of including a warning and preventing this content from being amplified. What is the warning that will come up? When you click the link, you'll see a generic unsafe URL message, references spam, malware, and violations of the Twitter rules. Not ideal, but it's the only thing we have. Now that's an example of censorship done by a leader, done by two leaders, in order to support what? A political party? That's truly unacceptable. Former Vice President of Global Communications, Brandon Borman, asked, can we truthfully claim that this is a part of the policy? All of this was arguments, whether the censorship was within policy or it's just pure censorship out of the interest of the political. Now, I think that's all there is to censorship. As to why it was never revealed in the Twitter files, as to why it was censored, I just assumed that it was censored out of the interest of the leader's political ideology, and the excuse was hacking material, that it was a malicious to reroute the conversation to the First Amendment, mention of which is generally hard to find in the file. So this is what I'm talking about. Rokana to Vijaya God. Rokana, hope you're well, Vijaya. This seems a violation of the First Amendment principles. If there is a hack of classified information or other information that could expose a serious war crime, and the New York Times was to publish it, I think the New York Times should have that right. A journalist should not be held accountable for the illegal actions of the sources unless they actively aided the hack. So to restrict the distribution of that material, especially regarding a presidential candidate, seems like not in the keeping of the principles of the New York Times v. Sullivan. I say this as a total Biden partisan. He didn't do anything wrong. But the story now becomes more about censorship than relatively innocuous emails, and it becomes a bigger deal than it would have been. It also is now leading to a serious effort to curtail Section 230, many of which would have been a mistake. I believe Twitter itself should curtail what it recommends or put in trending news, and your policy against QAnon groups is all good. It's hard to balance. But in the heat of a presidential campaign, restricting dissemination of a newspaper articles seems like it will invite more backlash than it will do good. So that's what I'm talking about. The emails of the fucking Hunter Biden doesn't truly matter. It's just innocuous emails. That's a perfect summary. Innocuous emails about that. And the thing that really changes our perspective is the true nature of the censorship. Censorship in not by government or not by aliens, but by the employees, the leaders on a private company, on the interest of a political ideology. Now, this truly is irrelevant. It's the arguments about the censorship that wasn't revealed in the public. It was only revealed when Matt Taibbi posts. Okay, I think that's it. I'll see you.